Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us for our kindergarten transition meeting. Look out, kindergarten, here we come. We have approximately 29 days left of school, and we're going to talk about some strategies you can use to get your child ready for kindergarten. So first of all, welcome. Kindergarten is right around the corner. Let's help your child get off to a great start. So this is why kindergarten is so important. It matters to your child because they're going to have a great year next year, which can build a positive attitude about school, where they're waking up each day and they can't wait to go to school because they enjoy it so much, they're ready and they're prepared. And what your child learns will be built on from kindergarten through all the grades that follow, all the way up to college. It's important to know what your numbers are. It's important to know your letters and build your reading skills as well. So let's get ready. Is your child ready for kindergarten? That is the question. Let's set up your child for success. So your child is more likely to have an easier transition into kindergarten if he or she knows what to expect. So this evening, we're going to talk about some things that you can expect to see or your child can expect to see while they're at school. Your child will be more successful if they're already used to listening and following rules and routines at home. So now is a great time for you to set up some routines for your child to follow, maybe a good morning routine or an evening routine before they go to bed, and always try to follow what they do first. So first, we're going to brush our teeth. Next, we're going to wash our face. Then we have breakfast. Finally, you go outside to play. So try and set up some rules and routines that they can follow at home. That will help prepare them for school as well. Next, we want to make sure your child knows how to get along with others. So if they're learning to play with their neighbors or with their cousins, no matter who it is, we want to work on some social skills so they can get along well with others. And finally, we want to make sure your child knows those basics about letters, numbers, and language skills. We're going to start off by talking about reading and literacy skills, which is referred to now as English language arts. So when I was in school, it was just kind of called reading and writing, but they kind of put that all together and it's called ELA or English language arts. So we want students to be able to begin to demonstrate understanding of basic features of print. And that means learning to go from left to right, top to bottom, and page by page. We also want students to be able to recognize the spoken words. So the words that we read from a book, those match up the words that are written in the book. So a good strategy to use at home is following along with your finger as you read the stories with your child. We want students to be able to recognize that words are separated by spaces. So if they see that in the book, it'll be easier transition as they start writing their sentences and they won't forget or leave out those spaces. We want your child to recognize and name the uppercase and lowercase letters of the alphabet. So what that looks like, start off with your child's first name. Do they know the letters of their first name? And go on from there. Before we just pull out a stack of all 26 letters, take a moment to make sure that you start small and you chunk groups of letters and then you add in more letters. So parents at home, make sure you read with your child daily. That can be first thing in the morning, grab a good book, in the afternoon this summer, or right before bed. Bedtime stories are the best. Share stories that your child is interested in that will encourage them to read. And you can also do stories in your child's native language. You can visit educational websites that support literacy. A great spot is to visit the local library because they have a lot of those educational websites already bookmarked on the computers. Teach your child phonics, so the letter names that match up with the sounds. Often we know as parents, our child learns the ABC song and they can sing the ABCs to us, but make sure that they know what the letter looks like and what sound the letter makes. And also listen to your child read. So right now, when they're in pre-K or before they start kindergarten, they're going to be picture reading. So just have your child encourage them to tell you what's on each page. So even though they might not be able to read the words yet, that's a way for them to show that that print contains a message, and it's a way for them to show us that they can go from left to right with their book. So picture read first, and then they can begin reading once they know their words. All right, let's move on to math skills. So these are some of the standards, the beginning ones that you can start to focus on at home. Understanding the relationship between numbers and quantities. So that looks like the child being able to count out different groups. And if they have 5 toy cars, they can match that up with the number 5. They can say that there are 5. You can have them count groups of objects. Start off up to 10. And once your child gets up to 10, keep moving forward and go on to larger quantities. And do one-to-one correspondence where they're counting each one at a time. Have your child arrange different kinds of objects to show that they understand those quantities. So you can have them put 5 cars in one pile, 5 trucks in another pile, and then talk about which one has more, which one has less. Start comparing those, and you're sorting. You can start to do patterns, do car, truck, car, truck. Parents, it's endless the things you can do with their toys. That might help them clean up their rooms as well. Sorting toys, counting toys, and putting them away. So you can have them count your steps as you get home from school or you get home from the park. Count how many steps there are going from your car up to your front door, or count how many steps there are from the bathroom to the bedroom. So you're measuring, you're counting, you're building those math skills in everyday objects. Count items at the grocery store. If you're going to the store to buy 5 apples, see if your child can help count them as you put them in the bag. We also use a lot of calendar math in pre-K to help us as we're counting. We go from 0 to 31 and see if your child can make those connections, like the word 5 and counting out 5 days on the calendar. You can also use the calendar to help you count down to a special day, like a holiday or a birthday. So if it's 20 days away, practice counting backwards from 20 all the way down to 0. Practice simple addition and subtraction using toys and blocks. So if you have 5 blocks on the floor and you take away 2, or if you have 5 and you add 2 more, so that will help them as they build their math skills from kindergarten and beyond. Another important skill for your child is speaking and listening. So we want students to be able to be a part of conversations between peers, so their classmates and adults, and that will be in small groups, so while they're at centers, or in large groups with the whole class. We want to make sure your child is working on following discussion rules for group interactions, and we want to make sure that they're doing several back and forth conversation exchanges. So parents, some things you can do: offer some clues to your child and have them identify what you're describing. For example, it's cold and sweet and it's good for dessert. I like strawberry. And see if your child can guess ice cream, or have them try and guess what you're having for dinner. Describe what it is and see if they can follow those clues. And believe it or not, the television can serve as a valuable tool. Talk to your child about what they're watching. Have them guess what would happen next. So take the remote control and pause what you're watching. Have them talk about what would happen next or what they think could happen. Have them talk about the characters, because that will help them even while they're reading a book. It'll help them discuss those. Those are all skills that they're going to need in their ELA, that in their English language arts time, that can help by speaking and listening. You can also act up a scene together in the story, or make up a different ending to a story. And take advantage of daily activities with your child. Talk to them, use the names of items, utensils in the kitchen, talk to them about the food that they're eating, their menu, talk about color, texture, taste. That's going to help build their speaking and listening skills. Next, this is a very important one to your child's development. their social and emotional skills. So in kindergarten, we'll be looking for students to engage appropriately with their classmates and the teacher in the classroom. We're going to want them to be able to express themselves verbally or non-verbally to the teacher without becoming aggressive. So the way they talk to the students and the teacher in the classroom is something that we want to work on. So this summer, you can encourage your child to use their words and use proper manners in the classroom. You can support positive emotional development. Interact with your child affectionately. So by greeting them in the morning, by giving hugs, high fives, handshakes, however you all greet each other. Show consideration for their feelings. If your child is crying, you can start a discussion. What's making you feel this way? And that goes back to the speaking and listening, and they'll start showing greater concern for other people's feelings as well. Express interest in their day. So at the end of the day, you can talk about what they did at school that day. You can find out how their day was, because when they get to kindergarten, they have an agenda and they will have different things written in it to let you know how their day was. You can start a discussion about that. Express pride in their accomplishments. If they've done something great, put it on the refrigerator, tell them that you're proud of them, and they will also start to do that for others. Provide encouragement and support during times of stress. So support your child, and also teaching them how to calm down in stressful situations. That will help them increase the likelihood that they'll develop early emotional competency, and they'll be better prepared to enter school and less likely to display behavior problems at home and at school. Another skill they'll be working on is physical skills. So physical skills are divided into their gross motor skills and their fine motor skills. So by taking your child outside to play, that will support their gross motor skills using their large muscles. And then to do their fine motor skills, they can go inside and draw a picture about that experience or summarize and tell their favorite thing that they did outside. Here's some safety skills to work on with your child as well. Make sure that your child knows their full name, their first and last name. You can work on your address and at least one parent's telephone number, and tell them your name. So if the teacher says, well, what's your mom's name? They won't respond mommy, they will say their parent's name. So my mom's name is Brittany Ramsey. And make sure your child knows the best way to contact you. Okay, so here are some important websites. The Polk County School Board website has a great spot for parents, where parents can learn how to get involved, or they can get onto the parent portal and find out your child's grades. There's another website I included that has some 20 free educational websites for you to access. And here are your next steps. Reach out to your school that your child will be attending for kindergarten. Find out what you need to do to get them registered. Make sure to attend your school's orientation. Inwood's orientation will be Tuesday, August 9th. Also over the summer, get your child's physical forms completed. Make sure that they're signed and dated by the physician, because the school will need updated physical forms and your child's immunization records. Another important piece is contact numbers. Make sure that the school, when you register, you have the contact numbers so they know who you would like to be called in case of emergency, or who is allowed to pick your child up. And this is one of the most important things, parents. It takes the parents, the school, and the community for your child to be successful. You are your child's first teacher. So make sure that although they're going to get a kindergarten teacher, that you're still working with them at home and that you're involved in your child's school. Okay, because early positive relationships between parents and schools are essential to parent involvement. You can also become a volunteer by filling out, there's an online form that I've attached here that you can fill out to be able to volunteer at your child's school. And something I want you to remember, Excellence in education is when we do everything that we can to make sure they become everything that they can. So your teacher's going to do everything they can. As a parent, I'm encouraging you to do everything that you can to make sure that your child can become everything that they can be. And if you have any questions, what are you excited about in regards to your child's transition, or what worries you about your child's transition? I want you to think about those things. And if you have any questions, reach out to your child's school directly. Give Inwood a call if your child's attending Inwood, and they'll be able to help you. And I thank you for joining us this evening.